a lot of you have leases ending on your Hyundais, Kias, and Genesis EVs this year, 2026. And the reason for this is early days of Ioniq 5 and EV6 in the US, before the Ioniq 6 went on sale, before EV9 went on sale, dealers could not pass along the $7,500 tax credit on leases. It was only later in time when that kind of loophole happened and dealers were able to greatly discount lease prices. Prior to that, most people were financing their cars because they could collect the $7,500 tax credit from the federal government, and thus financing made more financial sense than leasing. My 2024 Ioniq 6 SE rear-wheel drive lease ends this coming April. I only have 2 payments left, so I'm starting to think about what I'm going to do. And in this video, I'm going to flat out tell you, do not buy out your Hyundai, Kia, or Genesis EV lease. So for a lot of people, this is the first time they've ever leased a car. I mean, I personally never thought I'd be leasing. I always liked to buy my cars, but with the rapid depreciation that EVs suffer because of advancing technology, it just doesn't make sense to finance these cars or pay cash for them. You're going to lose so much money doing so. So to this day, I still only say lease these cars. Please do not pay cash or finance them. The depreciation is killer. And what some of you might not know is that at the end of a lease, you can either decide to just hand the car back to Hyundai, Kia, or Genesis, or you can opt to finance it or pay cash for it and keep it. So first question is going to be, how much is my lease buyout? Well, the easiest way to figure that out, at least for Hyundai, is to go into your My Hyundai app, scroll down to where it says Hyundai Finance, click on it. Here's where you'll see your monthly payment and everything, how many payments you have remaining. And then down below at the very bottom, you'll see lease buyout quote. And here you can see mine, $34,117.40. That is a lot of money for this car. So let's hop online and check out some comparable vehicles. So first thing I'm going to do, go to Carvana. And here you can see 3 2024 Ioniq 6 SE rear-wheel drives. All of these have higher mileage than mine. Mine only has about 8,000 miles on it. So here you have a 22,000 mile, 14,000 mile, 19,000 mile, and they are all going for about $25,000, $26,000. So right there immediately, you would be overpaying if you bought out your lease by $10,000. That is an insane amount of money. Now let's go to cars.com and see what we find there. Here's the same spec as my car, 19,808 miles, $22,000. Another one with 11,000 miles, $23,600. Another one, $21,500. And another one that's really comparable because it has 7,000 miles on it, less than $20,000. So $14,000 discount versus buying out my lease. Now let's open the floodgates and just allow any Ioniq 6, because let's say you're not set on keeping this trim level. And maybe even the model year doesn't matter that much because the cars basically remain the same for 2023, 2024, and 2025. So we'll open that up as well. Here's a couple 2023s from the same dealership with really good reviews. These are both SEL rear-wheel drives and they're about 18 to 18.5. So just almost half the price of what you would pay to buy out that lease. So I don't really understand why Hyundai is keeping their residual value so high, because all they're going to do is they're going to send it to auction, because no dealership that gets this back on return is going to want to keep it themselves. It's just going to go to auction, and then you're probably going to find them used for half the price at some point in the near future. I know sometimes cars can be heartfelt decisions, but you really got to think with your wallet when you decide what to do at the end of your lease. Just for ha-has, I looked at my 2025 Ioniq 5 lease buyout quote, $44,226. Let's go back to cars.com and see what a used 2025 Ioniq 5 Limited is currently going for. And would you look at that? A year out from the end of my lease, and the exact same car with less mileage is already at a $6,000 discount versus my lease buyout. And I imagine this is going to get hit even harder because for the 2026 model year, Hyundai drastically reduced prices of the Ioniq 5 by about $10,000 across the board. So the car that I leased in January 2025 for around $60,000 could be had for $50,000 today. And there's basically no differences between the two cars. Now, there is something you need to keep in mind, and that is going to be financing fees and interest. So if there's not much gap between your lease buyout and what you could get it for on the used market, definitely kind of compare financing rates if you finance through Hyundai or if you get private financing to buy a used car, because that could make a big difference. You could be talking a difference of $1,000 $1,000, a couple $1,000 just in interest. So you're going to want to take that into account as well. And the good news for secondhand buyers is that the EV powertrain warranty transfers to the second buyer. So you don't have to worry about the warranty and battery failures or ICCU issues up to 100,000 miles because that will all be covered under that warranty. Now, I can hear you guys screaming at your screen right now. Corbin, I'm over my lease terms. I went over mileage. That doesn't really matter. You're talking about 20 cents per mile over the lease terms that you agreed to. So let's just say you did a 2-year lease. Each year was 12,000 miles, so 24,000 miles total. Let's say you did 36,000 miles. So you did an extra 12,000 miles. Multiply that by what Hyundai typically charges per mile over, which is about 20 cents. You're talking $2,400. That does not make up for a $10,000 cheaper car. Pay the overage fee, get out of that car. To make up that roughly $10,000 difference in price, you would have to drive an extra 50,000 miles over those 2 years. So no, paying your overage fees is not going to make up that difference. So I hope this video helped you understand why you should not buy out your lease at the end of its term. It just does not make financial sense. So anyway, guys, if you liked today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Check out my store at ioniqguy.com for all sorts of cool accessories for your Hyundai, Kia, or Genesis EV. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.